do you feel about sim pornography? I mean, there's subtle touches of that, but has that affected you at all? Or I mean, what do you think of that?
It doesn't bother me at all, really. I mean, at the resolution that The Sims runs at, I mean, it's really more comic than anything else. And of course, it's voluntary. I mean, you actually have to go out there and find it and download it into the game. And even once you do that, they're not going to do anything very pornographic in the game, you know. So I think it's just another example of the fans trying to push the game in every possible directions. You know, we'll give them these customization tools, and then they naturally want to kind of push it further out and see where the boundaries are. And so they're really mapping the boundaries further out than we did, which is great. And there's certain directions, you know, we could not take the game in, other ones we didn't really want to take the game in, that the fans can, in a lot of cases, take it. But, you know, again, it's totally voluntary, so people are out there collecting this stuff, and it's, you know, it's just like, you know, going out and buying a magazine or something. You can choose, you know, which magazines you want to read and which ones you don't.
Why did you guys come out with Live and Large? What was the thought behind that?
Well, the one thing that's very hard for the fans to customize is the object programming. It's actually very technically difficult, but yet there was a very large demand for new objects in the game, especially new objects that kind of change the base simulation behavior. So our expansion packs have basically been in that direction, where we try to give them new objects that kind of expand the range of the simulation, not just the range of the content. So obviously the fans can do a lot more chairs than we can do, but we're still, you know, better at doing things like a genie or a voodoo doll, you know, and these kind of quirky little objects that have special programming in them.
And what about House Party?
House Party was similar, although it was a bit more in a social direction. What a lot of people enjoyed the most about The Sims was having the Sims come together and have a party and watching the interpersonal relationships between the Sims, the social interactions. And the game tuning made it rather difficult to do that because they were always having to go to sleep for work or get their motives up and all that. So a lot of the stuff in House Party actually does a slight retuning of the game, and it gives you more time to pursue the social. So once you start putting on a party, in fact, there's more emphasis in the game put on the social needs of the Sims, and so it becomes a more social game.
In a single person playing it kind of thing. That's interesting.
Right. Well, it's like a single person manipulating these little, you know, social pieces, you know, and trying to get them to interact and interrelate. And that's kind of the game here, is getting a consistent system that works well together. And it's very dynamic, you know, when you get these social systems and all these little objects. This one hates that one. These two love each other. It doesn't take much to come in and make the whole thing chaotic again. And that's the really interesting part. You know, and that's the basis of soap operas, too.
Throwing a wrench in everything.
Yeah, you know, you have the stable social system, and it just takes one person to come in and throw the whole thing out of whack, you know.
Or a genie.
Yeah, or genie, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. How did you get your ideas for the expansion pack? I mean, were you inspired by the fans? I mean, how did you know what to do when you were making these expansion packs for the game?
Yeah, when we were doing the first expansion pack, a lot of what we had done is we'd gone out to the website and read a lot of the fan stories, and we saw the things that people had built in the game, and we got a really good sense of what directions people were trying to push the game and hitting brick walls. And so that helped us identify that, oh, they really want more, you know, like in the first expansion pack, we noticed people doing a lot of kind of more fantastical stories, you know, abductions and strange X-File type stuff, and so we wanted to add a lot of that in the game so that they could kind of go off in these directions, or more like horror stuff, classic movie genres. So when we designed the expansion pack, we tried to design objects that would help them go further in these directions and support these environments and these stories.